Hello and welcome to the Miyagi Championships Top 16 match here in the EB03 format. My name is Jake. You can also call me Atrocious, and thank you so much for checking out the channel for this streamed match in the Japan Championships. Now, before we go anywhere, I do want to say this is repurposed content, right? I'm practicing my own commentary skills to try to make it on the big stage one day as a caster. If you want to watch the official live stream, you can check it out in the description below. I will always link the description. Usually we live stream these tournaments as well with live commentary, interacting with you guys in the chat. But because I'm actually hosting a case tournament in probably about 12 hours here on this channel, subscribe if you want to see that case tournament. I'm just recording for now, trying to get a good night's rest. But thank you so much for joining me into the Miyagi Championships. I think this is the third championship in a row, by the way, that he is wearing that same sweatshirt. He's done it, I think, every cast so far this season. Here we have the deck distribution overall for this tournament. Ace, for the second tournament in a row, dominates the field at 25%, a whole quarter of this tournament. Emu was 18% last week, now at 22%, so more people compiling of these top two decks, taking up 47% of the room, which is a crazy statistic. 10% are playing Green Zoro, 9% are playing Roger, right? Red Purple Roger, 6% as Sabo, 5% as Blue Purple Luffy, 4% as Green Bonney, 3% as Rayleigh, and 2% as Blue Yellow Nami. So Vivi not making it in the ranks, not even in the other 14%. Vivi having a huge fall off from the start of the EB03 format up until this point. Unfortunate to see. Blue Yellow Nami going a little bit lower as well. Rayleigh back up on the rise, as well as Blue Purple Luffy. And so here's our top 16 cut for this tournament. We've got 5 Emus and 5 Ace dominating 10 of the top 16 spots. And then the rest of the way, you got 2 Green Zoro, 1 Green Bonney, 1 Blue Yellow Nami, 1 Rayleigh, and 1 Red Black Sabo, right? Probably not surprising too much. We've kind of seen this top cut for the last couple tournaments in the EB03 format, right? Sabo has started to get more top cuts with the addition of the EB03 Koala, as well as the McDonald's 4-cost promo Sabo. Blue Yellow Nami really making it onto the scene these last couple weeks, and Bonney and Rayleigh still mainstay decks. Before we get into the top cut and see our 2 decks in the starting player's hand, let's hear from more from our sponsor. Listen, if you're itching for a brand new playmat, now is the time to check out Nen Garden, the sponsor of this video. Not only do they have brand new pre-orders up on their website for Chaos Crew, Green Fury, and the Absolute Ruler designs, which by the way, are phenomenal. But if you're a fan of Goldie Roger, Nen Garden actually put out a new playmat called The Journey's End, showcasing Goldie Roger himself, and you yourself can find his one piece with the possibility of a 1 in 20 chance to get the special wanted playmat. And on top of that, if you're like me and you absolutely prefer cloth mats, Nen Garden has officially posted on their site cloth mats for Green Fury, Absolute Ruler, Berserk, and Journey's End. Plus, if you want a ton of other great accessories that aren't just playmats, they've got the King of Hearts t-shirt, matching pin, other pins alongside of it through the whole cake island, and even stickers. Make sure with whatever you want in Nen Garden, use my code Atrocious for 8% off. The link to their website is in the description below. Thank you so much for Nen Garden for sponsoring the video. And let's get back to that video. And so we've got our matchup here now. Who's it gonna be? Looking at these players, I can't tell what their leader is. Usually they show the leader. It's gonna be Green Bonney. So Green Bonney made some noise at the end of OP13, winning one of the Japan Championships with a really interesting list, right? Running Law and Beppo, running the 5-cost Stun Bonney from OP07. And we're gonna see it up against Red Black Sabo. This is my personal leader from OP13 that I love the most. Gonna be really curious to see in this matchup how this matchup works, right? Especially with Red Black Sabo being able to have those blockers boost up a cost of 2, right? Avoid the carrot stun. But on the flip side, Bonney's leader effect resting one of your blockers and or leader every single turn. It's going to be really curious to see how these players battle it out, how they interact with each other, and where maybe this matchup goes. I can't tell who is going first or second. I don't think they've done the rock, paper, scissors as of yet. So it looks like Sabo going first in this matchup, probably a pretty bad sign if I had to take a guess, right? Sabo much preferring the even curve, right, to be able to play 4-cost hack, 6-cost Sabo, 8-cost dragon, and beyond. And Bonney, especially with the even curve, right, often is going to be able to leave up 1 Dawn as active for specifically their leader effect. It's going to be curious as well, I think, in this matchup, how often Sabo can get to 6, right? Bonney, especially with playing on curve a lot of times, especially if they don't get to keep Cavendish on the field, may not have a Dawn as active to be able to use for leader effect more often than not, or have to sacrifice a swing with leader. Especially since many of Bonney's characters, though, sit in the 6,000 range. If the 6-cost Sabos can get online for those free blocks, could be very beneficial for Sabo defensively in this game. So both players keeping their hands and putting out their life. We'll see exactly what their hands are. And it looks like the Sabo going first, he's running a very interesting card that I've seen a couple players play. It is Morgan. The other cards in the hand, the Rev Army stage, right? Being able to constantly search and filter within your deck. The 6-cost blocker Sabo, that is a 2K that came from PRBO2. You got Hack and Stussy. Stussy's going to be really nice to get rid of boss characters that the Bonney might play, right? A lot of Bonnies run 9-cost Zoro, right, in this meta. Just a really good aggressive card that your opponent has to respond to immediately. Stussy is the perfect candidate for that. The Morgans, if you do not know, releasing an OP13, a brand new card, is a 3-cost blocker, right? And then on play, draw 2, trash 2 from your hand. A great way to build up trash. The Bonney has a couple searches in their hand with the 1-drop Bonnies, and also has the 1-drop Scratchman Pooh. Also has another 2K in the hand with the 3-cost Protection Tashigi. May be useful in this matchup with the Hack, right? That could come out on the field with that on KO effect. And an 8-cost Dracula Mihawk, definitely a nice card. So looks like pretty okay starting hands from both sides. I feel like Bonney probably has a little bit of advantage, as much as I hate to say, in this matchup. And we start out with Sabo going first, so definitely going to be playing that 1-cost stage, that Rev Army HQ stage. Now he has to decide what is the worst card in his hand for this, especially going first. Maybe the Morgan is a nice card to play, right? Being able to draw 2, trash 2 on the next turn, but opts to put it to the side as of right now. Looks at that top 3, finds a Koala and a Waxing Fist, or Hair Removal Fist, I think is the official translation and card in English. Both very, very good cards. Bottom decking a Stussy, but you probably run 4 of them, so you got 2 more to look for in your deck, and is really thinking about the Koala. The Koala, a great addition in EB03, and one of the reasons why Sabo has been put on the map in this format. On the opponent's turn on KO, you play a character with the cost of 6 or lower from your hand or trash that has the Rev Army trade or Nico Robin other than Koalas. So just a great card to be able to recur those 6-cost Sabos or any other characters in your trash. And now the Bonney going to be starting out with a 1-cost Bonney search, or actually just playing both of them down at this point. Not actually doing any searching at all. Does not want to let Sabo get a free swing and a knockout, and just passes off the turn. It is going to be nice at this point, right, on a 4-Dawn play. Bonney really doesn't have many things to do in terms of a character to play out on the field, besides like another Searcher and Kid Killer, Koshiro, or the 3-drop PRBO2 Jewelry Bonney. So might just go ahead and do 2 searches as well as a 7,000 power swing at lead. The Sabo, however, is, after drawing a 6-cost Sabo for turn, a great card, is going to find another one on the Rev Army stage after pitching the Koala. So doesn't want to put that Koala on the field as of yet right now. And with 3 done, may just going to be going in with a 8,000 or 7,000 power, I should say, swing at lead. If you do not know Sabo, when he has 4 or more life, he is minus 1,000 power. So he's a base 4,000 power leader. He will, though, later in the game, get plus 1,000 power when he has an 8 cost on the field and a Dawn attached to lead. So, being a 4,000 power base leader as you're at 5 life, and 3 Dawn attached is 7,000 power. The Bonney now on the 4 Dawn turn is just going to do some searches, as I had mentioned previously. You know, a good start in this one does find Kid Killer, but a Cavendish is the grab, right? One of the more important cards, especially in this matchup. Sabo really not known as a removal deck, even though it has that black identity, half black identity. And so your Cavendish is more than likely going to be able to stick on the field and is a great way to constantly recur Dawn every single turn. The second Bonney search is going to bottom deck 2 carrots, which could be very nice, and is going to grab a Scratchman Apu Supernova 2K. So Bonney, if they want to at this point, could go in more of a starve method, as what we see from time to time within these Sabo matchups. They have a little bit of way to mitigate it with the new McDonald's promo Sabo, but with none in hand at this point, we could potentially see either the play of Koshiro and pass, or maybe a 5,000 power swing at lead and then play him down. It looks like the 5,000 power swing is going to be that method. Sabo going down to 4 life. A lot of times you'll see Sabo just take the first life, right? Try to get down to 4 and then maybe more than likely take that second life and go to 3 right away to become a 5,000 power leader. Almost kind of like a pseudo 4 life leader in some senses. But on the draw for turn, finding another 2K in the Sabo. Now that he's at 5 Dawn, he's got some stuff to work with, but here's the problem with this scenario right now. If he plays this 4 cost hack out onto the field and then attaches 1 Dawn to lead to gain plus 1,000 power because hack becomes an 8 cost, then that means that they're not going to be able to use leader effect at that point to rest that hack, so your hack's going to stay up as active on the field. After doing the search, pitching one of these Sabos is thinking about playing the 8 cost dragon or grabbing the 8 cost dragon. We've seen a lot of players in the Eastern meta go down to 3 8 cost dragons, so especially when you see it in one of your searches, you probably want to pick it up at this point. But 4 or 5 in total, is he going to rest all 5? I don't think he has anything that is costing 5, so probably more so just means 4. Is going to start out with a 4,000 power swing, into the Jewelry Bonney, just to be able to get it off the field. This is going to protect the hack, right? And with the 1 Dawn attached is going to be a 5,000 power leader, so it's just going to be an easy 1K counter to get out of it if the Bonney decides to swing 5. There's that 9 cost Zoro off the draw that I was mentioning earlier in this game, especially with this Sabo having 2 Stussies, going to be able to remove it very easily, right? But the problem with these Sabo, even though you run somewhere between 10 to 12 1-drop searchers, he didn't find one in this early game, so it's a great card to combo off of Stussy, so not having it definitely hurts. With the 5,000 power swing, because Hack is a 6,000 power character because of Sabo's leader effect, right, as Hack is an 8 cost on the field and Sabo has 1 Dawn attached, he's thinking about going ahead and turning this hack sideways, going in for the free block. We know the Cavendish is in hand, so he would be able to survive on the block and be able also to restand at the end of turn, especially because Carrot does not deal with original costs, right? Carrot's effect is only interacting with 7 costs or less. So even with this Trafalgar Law played onto the turn, if a Carrot would come down, you're not too worried about it. And so is with all 6 going to go ahead, play that Trafalgar Law, pick up the Jewelry Bonney and play down Cavendish, right? Be able to get 2 aggressive bodies onto the field. Is going to go ahead and do 1 more for the Jewelry Bonney and may just go ahead and search, but passes off the turn, maybe saving the search a little bit for the next turn on 8. The Sabo now going over to the 7 Dawn turn is going to go ahead and draw. And it looks like find another 8 cost dragon. So can't play the 8 cost dragon on this turn, but you can play the 6 cost Sabo. You do have to be a little bit wary though because of that 1 Dawn. It seems like Hack is more than likely going to be turning sideways on this turn, and then on KO effect, not really interacting with the board too much outside of the Koshiro. He is thinking about starting with the Rev Army stage. Little curious on what you would want to pitch off of this Rev Army stage. I could see either a 2K or Dragon probably is more likely to be pitched on this move, as the Dragon is a non-counter card in your hand a lot of time playing one, but ends up going with the Sabo instead, right? Building that Rev army trash. Does end up finding an 8-drop Dragon, so ends up getting that just for the aggression, right? You can use that later, especially to put a lot of pressure against Bonney. And we'll see if he decides to attach one Dawn and swing 6,000 power maybe at this Cavendish on the turn. It would force Bonney to either block or take a card out of hand, which you definitely enjoy. But ends up going with the hack, or maybe going with the hack. I think you definitely attach one to lead. And now, because both characters and leader are at 6,000 power, doesn't really matter which one that you swing because the other is going to get rested. So choosing hack as the leader now gets rested. I think swinging at lead, and it's just going to 2k out of that one with the Scratchman of Pooh, and the 6 is going to come in with the Sabo. Using the activate main, now becoming an 8-cost character. He's going to get another Dawn at lead and pass off the turn. That Dawn not necessarily mattering, but you do have to attach it because of that activate main. Really prioritized having that Sabo as an 8,000 power block at this point, in comparison to using it proactively to swing an extra 1,000 power on leader and it getting rested due to the leader effect. Now on Bonney's 8 Dawn turn is going to go ahead, play Dracula Mihawk, restanding 4 Dawn immediately. Now is going to go in through these searches, right? Especially with Dracula Mihawk being able to add more Dawn as active, right? It allows you some free searches similar to what's going on right now, right? With the Jewelry Bonney. If he had the other one on the field too, more than likely would be able to use that on top of it, because he also has a Cavendish on field to be able to reset the Dawn. The Bonney is going to be grabbing the X-Drake, a nice 2k right within this deck. Has the ability to rest a 5 cost or less. Not, again, very useful in this matchup, but still a good piece in the overall format. Is going to swing 6,000 power at the hack right now and restand a couple Dawn. This swing at the hack is going to force the Sabo to say, okay, how much do I actually want to guard this hack, right? You could go in with the block on the 8,000 power swing to not really reveal any information from your hand, especially because you only have a 2k counter in your hand at this point. The Bonney now still with 5 Dawn to work with, especially with a couple different swings, right? Trafalgar Law not activated as a blocker until you're at 1 life or less. So it's just going to attach a ton into the Sabo and swing at it. That's a 10,000 power swing, would force 2 cards out of hand, and the Sabo not having enough counter to protect it because they forced the 2k off of there, especially with this deck having so many bricks. Even though you have a filter effect of the stage, you definitely need to keep your 2Ks in hand. I know 8-cost Dragon, Black Dragon, is such a good card, but you really only need to play 1, maybe 2 max, only in some of the games at this point. So finds a 1-drop Garp on the search, or off of the life, and another Koala on the search. Is now at a full 9, so could go ahead and play the 9-cost Stussy if he wanted to, but because that Sabo did leave the field, it's a little tough at this point if you want to do that, because then you would only have a 5,000 power swing with leader. So is going to go ahead and pitch the Red Dragon, really prioritizing these Black Dragons right now, and so grabs a Bello Betty, right searcher, a 1-drop back from OP05. Again, all the searchers, all 3 of the searchers that I mentioned earlier that Sabo loves to run in the hand at this point. Unfortunately, not from the beginning of the game. If I had to take a guess, he's probably playing the 8-cost Dragon now at this point, but I would attach 1 and swing with either lead or hack. Lead nets 1,000 more power, but the problem at this point is that the Dracula Mihawk is still there, right? Dracula Mihawk, very good in this matchup, as Sabo at 3 or less life, attaching 1 Dawn, is going to be able to swing 7,000 power leader Draco Mihawk, being an 8,000 power blocker, is always going to be able to net the block. Just a super tough spot for this Sabo, right? No searches at the beginning on the on curve, and you ran out of cards to be able to counter out and save your 6 cost. So is going to go ahead and do the 8 cost dragon, get 3 Rev Army cards back into the deck from the trash, play out the 6 cost Sabo. Is going to go ahead, use the effect to get a Rested Dawn onto leader, activating their leader effect, and with the one more, is going to go ahead, swing now 8,000 power at the Cavendish. Bonney's leader effect going to be resting, I would say, the 6 cost Sabo, right? You definitely want to get that Sabo as rested to be able to potentially swing at it. Don't know if you're super worried about hack anymore, but is going to go for a hack just so then Sabo has a limited number of swings to be able to go, and goes ahead and blocks with the Koshiro that they had on the field. So Bonney still just in a super commanding spot at this point, is now going to be at 10 Dawn. We'll see if they play the 9 cost Zoro at this point or go in with the 7 cost Hody Jones. We've seen Bonnies, especially in some of these slower games in the past, and still at 4 life, mind you, play the Hody Jones to get more on the aggressive, right? Would be able to rest both the Dragon and Sabo, maybe trying to apply a little bit of pressure to the Sabo, right? With Cavendish restand, you would have 5 Dawn in total as active left for the rest of the turn after the Hody Jones swing, and Hody Jones can go ahead and match this Sabo, but goes ahead with the 9 cost Zoro, right? Is going to go ahead and force the Stussy that I mentioned earlier to hit the field, but a Stussy means no blocker, so you really like to see that, especially as you kind of got an indication that Sabo maybe doesn't have a lot of counter in the hand. Now going in with the 6,000 power swing at the hack, does restand to Dawn, as you've got 2 left right now after playing down that Zoro, and searching with the Bonney for the 5 cost blocker. Is going to prompt for the free block at this point, right? Wouldn't be able to KO it with any of these, except maybe Dracul Mihawk at this point, but we're still going to go in and swing at this hack. 6,000 power to a 6,000 power hack. Thinking about utilizing the 1Ks that we've got in hand, these 1 cost searchers, probably going to play one down for the Stussy coming in the next turn, but ends up letting it go at this point. And so does let that get KO'd and takes the Bonney with it, right? No more free searching within this game, and a 6,000 power with Trafalgar Law at lead. I think you definitely want to give a 1K at this point, right? You want to give up one of your searchers, probably give up the Koala maybe at this point, or maybe the Bello Betty, simply because, you know, build up the trash, but goes with the Garp instead. Does not build up the trash anymore with Rev Army trait cards, as you've only got 2 in the trash at this point right now, and now at a full 10 Dawn turn, ends up going in with the draw, finds his another 8 cost dragon at this point. So plenty of 8 cost dragons right now. You've seen 3 of them, so maybe all 3. Do you go ahead and pitch? Well, actually, no, has seen 3 of them right now. So goes ahead with the Koala, like I was mentioning, is going to build up the trash, probably playing the 9 cost Stussy, ends up going with a 2K Sabo, right? Just once again, like I said, building up the trash in the hand. Does end up pitching a Koala on that one. Is going to go ahead with the 9 for the Stussy, and with Stussy, to be able to KO a character, you do have to KO one of your own, so is going to KO the Koala, especially with the 9 cost Zoro right onto the field and no protection effects to be able to save it. Stussy is a perfect card to be able to have, right? Oftentimes very, very good in something like the Ace matchup for the Sabo, and so now utilizing the 6 cost blocker, Sabo's effect, right, to give him +2 cost and a Dawn onto the Sabo leader, now puts this 8 cost dragon at a 9,000 power swing that he can make. But first is going to be getting rid of one of these cards, the Bello Betty Searcher, once again prioritizing the 8 cost black dragon. Very interesting. And finds a Koala, right? Another Rev Army Searcher, trading 1K searchers basically. The 9,000 power swing is going to go in probably at the Cavendish right now, being consistent. And so the leader effect resting one of these characters looks like it's going to be the blocker Sabo. And the block 2K coming in. Now you're starting to see the value of these Bonnies in this game, constantly being able to search these counter cards for a deck that has a lot of non-counter. And so now the 7,000 power swing with Sabo is just going to be another 2K out, as those Bonnies just continuously found things like Scratch Manapoo, X-Drake, right? Plenty of 2Ks. I would have maybe saved the Tashigi in hand and gotten rid of the X-Drake, because the X-Drake we know is in the hand from information gained on the 1-drop Bonney, but choosing to get rid of that instead. Another Dracula Mihawk coming down onto the field, 6 Dawn restand as active. Soon as this Cavendish swings, 2 more Dawn, just going to restand at this point, putting up 8 Dawn active in total. Definitely a strong point right now. The Dracula Mihawk not allowing at all for the rest of the turn to play 7 cost or more for the rest of this turn. So you know that Hody Jones at least is not coming down on the field as a 7 cost, but the 5-drop Bonney a perfect candidate. So with the 6,000 power swing after fulfilling the restand 2, no blockers on the field, is going to get rid of a 1K right now. And now another 6,000 power swing is just going to force another card out of hand, just bleeding out the hand right now. But is going to take the life, does not want to give a 2K, and finds just another 2K. This deck running anywhere between 10 to 12 2Ks typically. And so attaching 3 Dawn may just be trying to go in and swing at lead, force 2 cards out of hand right at this point, especially because the Sabo is a 6,000 power leader. 8,000 power, just a good number to be able to pressure in the life, and gets that one as well with the 8 cost Mihawk. The 5-drop Bonney coming in with plenty of cards as rested is going to go ahead, draw 2, trash 1, and be able to trash that Sabo, restanding 1 Dawn at the end of turn and passing. The Sabo not looking good at this point. Doesn't have an 8 cost red dragon to be able to be on the aggressive, and still is holding these 8 cost dragons in the hand right now. Even though you have another blocker Sabo in the trash, right? A Hody Jones just resting 2 of your blockers, which could be both of these Sabos, is going to spell a little bit of danger for you. Might be thinking at this point of playing the other 9 cost Stussy in hand, finally pitching that 8 cost dragon. Is going to look at that top 3 cards, finds a hack, the only card with counter that he can grab at this point, right? Black Vortex not being a Rev Army kind of card. Could do something similar as what he did in the last turn, right? Play a 1-drop Searcher, try to find something like a 2K, and then play 9-drop Sussy to get rid of that character. And is going to do one for the Bello Betty search, right? Looking at the top 5, not discarding any of the cards, but is a deep search for this deck to be able to find a piece that you need, and finds a Morley 2K. That being one of the alternate arts for it. And so now using Sabo's effect, that blocker is going to get 1 Dawn on leader to plus 1,000 everywhere. The 10,000 power with Stussy, right, with that 1,000 power addition, is going to go ahead with the swing. I'm not sure where at this point, but with 2 blockers on the field and resting the 9,000 power dragon, not very afraid right now. And so does block with the Bonney, right? Does not give up any cards or any huge bodies on the field. So might just go ahead with the 9 cost Stussy to get rid of the active Dracula Mihawk and go ahead and swing 7,000 power at the Cavendish, just to be able to potentially get it off the field. And so is going to go ahead and play 8 to get out another 8 cost dragon at this point. And the 8 cost dragon, putting away the 3 Rev Army cards, the 3 searchers that we've got in there, is going to go ahead more than likely play the 6 cost Sabo, playing over the Bello Betty searcher. Is going to get 1 more Dawn to attach to the leader, make it an 8,000 power leader. I could have sworn we already used the Sabo. I think he should only have 2 Dawn on his leader at this point because he used it at the beginning of the turn after he played the Bello Betty. There we go. Maybe thinking he had another Dawn to be able to attach with that active Dawn. Not attaching with the active Dawn and going in with a block and 1K on that Dracula Mihawk. Now a 9,000 power swing going at this Cavendish is just 2K out of there as he built the entire game. Now, though victory is so easy for Bonney, right? Just a little bit of math, especially with the Hody Jones. You're not afraid of dying. I think on the clapback at this point is just going to slam that guy down, be able to rest the blocker Sabo and the Dragon, and after taking the life is going to gain that rush. Only 5 cards in hand for the Sabo. We know what 2 of them are, I believe, with the Hack and Morley. And so with a 2K, 1K, you gotta think about the numbers. A 6,000 power swing right here, just a 1K with the Hack, one of the cards that we do know. An 8,000 power swing, again, just a great number to be able to utilize. Is going to go 2K, 1K out of that. 2 cards in hand, 2 Dawns still active, and 4 swings to be able to work with. An 8,000 power swing with Hody Jones claims the first life. It's a hair removal fist trigger to be able to draw 1 card and trash 1 card off the top of the deck. Does trash a 2K and finds a 1K in its place. And then the big 10,000 power swing, going to be able to claim the win. Bonney, unfortunately for me as a Sabo fan, is moving on into the top 8 round of this championship, but especially getting that second curve away from Sabo and being able to constantly rest those blockers definitely provides a good matchup for the Bonney. Thank you so much for watching this match, and we will have the other rounds covered on this channel. I'm once again, probably by the time that you're watching this, or if you wake up, see this video, start watching it, I may already be live with the case tournament, so that's going to be my focus. Until then, I'll get the rest of them out to you. Again, make sure to subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you later.